Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Charger360, telling the stories of the University of New Haven. I'm J.W. Stewart, joined as always by Bruce Barber. We kind of have a media roundtable here today, Bruce.
It's very nice, but I must say we've got ESPN, ESPN, Shock Jock. I'm the square corner of the round table.
There's some similarities somewhere. There's got to be a Venn diagram that gets all that together.
Our guest today is Wayne Edwards, who teaches TV production, among other courses here at the University of New Haven, and did once upon a time work at ESPN. Wayne, thanks for joining us here on Charger360.
Great to be with you guys, the colleagues.
Yes.
Fantastic.
This is kind of a home away from home for you in here, right?
I mean, this is what happens when I'm not here? Like, what is going on? Did I get permission for that? No, just kidding.
Well, the great thing is, and we don't mention this enough, J-Dub, our students are behind the camera. They're in the control room. Jason, our director today, thank you, and thank you to all of you behind the camera, behind the scenes, taught by Mr. Wayne Edwards.
They come to me first. Insert evil laugh, right? Right. So, yeah, I mean, if you talk about a big selling point to this place, and that is instant hands-on, especially if you're going into communications. So I get you first, and you get a chance to learn all of this, even if your track is film or marketing or digital media. You come here first, you get the fundamentals of how to frame things, how things work, the pace and speed of a production. It kind of helps you when you transition to that passion that you want to do.
And this is pretty much a state-of-the-art facility, isn't it? I remember we had an alum that works for a local television station and said, this is on a par with what we work with every day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got to think Paul Falcone, that's in the control room too, putting this all together. 2,500 square feet. You've got, production equipment that the professional use. It's fun that you can say, hey, that switcher that you're using, that video switcher, hey, they use that at ESPN. They use that at NBC Sports Boston. This mixer, they use it at this network too. So we really have a chance to get our students that hands-on ability to pass on to the professional level.
So you come from a media background. Tell us about your path here to UNH.
Oh man, what a path.
It was not a straight line, was it?
It was not a straight line. There was forks in the road. There was Jersey jug handles, U-turns and stuff. So 15 years at ESPN, I started there. Started as a production assistant, worked my way up to producer. And after 15 years, as industries do, they change. And there's restructure, and being being laid off, I had to find something different. I first launched this network out of Hartford called Back 9 Network. That went well for a little bit, and then that kind of faltered too. So the next step was, well, let's try education. And let's try, the knowledge that I've learned for the past 15 years, pass it off to our next generation, right? So I started at Connecticut School of Broadcasting, and that was great. But then this opportunity came where, hey, University of New Haven is looking for an adjunct to come in. Why don't you go talk with him? I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna go talk. So Steve Rauscher was the chair at the time, so I had a great conversation with him, thinking that, all right, I've set myself up for the next fall semester. And this meeting happened in like December. So on my drive home, I get a call from Steve Rauscher saying, it's great. Hey, can you start in a couple days? Our semester starts in a couple days. And I'm like, you know what? Yes, let's go for it, right? Let's dive into the deep end. And it was 8 some odd years later, now being a part of teaching broadcasting, a little bit of journalism, and it's just so rewarding. I like when you first see the freshmen, right? The look, right? It's the look of, holy smokes, what is happening here? Now I've got to learn all this terminology, and then by the end of the semester, they're on top of things. They're saying all the terminologies in the business, and like they're ready to roar. They're ready to go forward.
Well, that's one of the things, I love about working here is that I do feel like once you've gotten to a point in your career, you really do start thinking about what you just discussed, the next generation. And what also is important on this campus, and I think it's so wonderful, is that that they do appreciate when they're thinking about who do we bring in. It's an appreciation for people who've worked or are working in their fields. And I think that really does help to engage the students as well, that, hey, this is not theoretical. You were boots on the ground producing, football matches, soccer games.
Yeah, almost all of it. Almost
Yeah.
all of it at ESPN. And it's great to be able to, okay, I've got some archive footage, right? It's archives now, like it's been so long ago, right? In which you can, I did this at ESPN so I can better myself in communicating, right? I would record all the games with my comms channel. And so I would go back so I could okay, did I communicate right to my crew and stuff? And now that I'm able to play that for the students here, it gives them a better perspective of, oh, wow, this is how the production works, and it's really fast. So I better know what I want ahead of time in order to look smooth on air.
You said, a lot of your students, or the students all start with you at one point in time when they kind of hear fundamentals of production 1, fundamentals of production 2. A big part of our audience are prospective students and their parents. The students that you've taught have gone on to do some pretty cool things here, but they've also gone on to do some pretty cool things after UNH. What are some of the things that some of your students have gone on to accomplish?
Oh my goodness, we've got a couple that are at CBS Sports right now working on the Golazzo network. Some that have done television but have transitioned to they were film majors all along, working on the Joker movie, and the Many Saints of Newark, even opening their own media companies. So it's been great to see that. And then it gives you a perspective as a professor. It's like, yeah, you've been here long now, because now you see them on social media getting married and having kids, and it's like, okay, at least, they're having a great life.
And the ones that are working in film, they're like, you've just made in 3 months what I make in a year.
Exactly, exactly. I always joke about that. You get 10%.
So you're trying to teach our students a lot about life in the industry. In addition to that, what else are you trying to teach them about maybe life in general?
Big confidence.
Yep.
That's the big one. Being able to confidently communicate what you want for your show. Yep. That is the big thing. And one of the things that we do in my Fundamentals of Production 1 class is we have these non-graded exercises. Gives the pressure, alleviates the pressure, but it also gives you a sense of what to expect when you're going to start getting graded. And it's funny, sometimes I'll drive them a little nuts. I'll say, are you good with the audio levels? Well, I think, no, I don't want to hear I think. Are you good? And then there'll be this long silence, because I'm not going to tell you. In my mind, I'm like, you got it. Just say you got it. And I got to let them determine, yes, I did it right, and I've got the correct things. We're ready to move forward.
What would you say is the most important attribute for a student to have as they're going through this process?
I'm going to broaden that out, right? Not only just this major in communications, but college altogether, right? And I talk about this in a Principles of Communication course, an interpersonal communication class, where you're coming from, as a freshman, you're coming from high school, which everything was structured for you. Now, all of a sudden, you're free. If you don't want to wake up at 8 o'clock, you don't have to, right? So now it's a sense of learning the time management aspect of things. What's really a priority, right? My education is, right? Student athlete, now you got to mix the education in with the athletics, and then perhaps maybe the social aspect of things, right? So it's figuring all that out. And I think that's important. That's what college is all about.
You've taught a lot of courses here. You've developed minors, the sports communication minor as well. Tell us about the Equity and Media Fellowship that you've been working on.
Oh, yes. Good project that we're working on. Coming in February, we're going to have professionals from film, from broadcast, from journalism, a diverse crew of professionals come, and we're going to have a panel discussion, right? Our school is very unique, and what I love about it is the diversity that we have on this campus. And now to be able to bring those diverse professionals in to talk about their career and their pathway, and maybe a student would be like, hey, that person looks like me, and that's what I'm interested too. So we're still working on, we've got 6 people so far, and we're working on grabbing some others, so we can't wait. So February 28th and 29th on campus here. Looking forward to it.
And I'm interested, you know, we asked this question of other people in other disciplines, but talk a little about the way media is changing and how you teach the students to adapt to those changes.
Oh my goodness, media is as I just said the sentence, media has changed again. You know, I teach a course called Race, Gender, Class in the Media. And basically it is a media literacy type course, right? So storytelling can come in so many ways, right? And so we teach that on the production level as well. But beneath the surface of that, we need to be a little bit more kind of direct in the way that we tell stories in terms of diversity, right? So in that course, we observe past stereotypes, past tropes that have happened in film and in television, and we recognize that, and then we decide, okay, now when it's your turn to create this media, how can we do this? How can we tell the story? How can you tell this story without that trope, without that stereotype, to alleviate the bias that usually happens when we see things like that? And so with media, we've got to be, I've always told these students, you guys grew up with this stuff. You know what BS is and what's not BS. You're more in tune than we are. So continue to follow your gut feelings with that. And as media change, those fundamentals are still remain when it comes to production and storytelling.
You said before that you're a big fan of movies.
Love movies.
What's your favorite movie?
Okay, so Gladiator is my favorite movie. But just joining it just the other day and after watching it for the 3rd time, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Dude, that movie, the storytelling in that movie is incredible, and the plot line is incredible. So I like movies that gives you those kind of hidden messages here and there, and like real actor conflict, right? Character conflict.
And that must be a great way, your love of film, to engage your students as well.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking pop culture, so how can you go wrong?
Yeah, talking pop culture, giving them clips to see that, hey, you know when they made this movie? They made this movie back in 1975. So yeah, they're like, holy smokes, are you serious? This is like this other movie that we just saw. And I'm like, this is where it all comes from. So it's fun. It's so much fun.
We've covered a lot of ground in this interview. We've got about a minute and a half left here with Wayne Edwards. But I wanted you to, if this is your opportunity now to make a pitch to prospective students and their parents. What would you tell them about why it's so great to come here to the University of New Haven, especially to study what you're teaching?
Yeah, 2 things. The one important thing is you get hands-on right away. There's no waiting until your sophomore year in order to start taking core courses. You start pretty much day 1. And 2, you're working with professionals who've been here, okay? As Bruce said before, boots on the ground, right? We've been here, we know what to expect. We can guide you in a way that no other school can. And just come to an open house and you'll see. You even do hands-on in our open houses. So it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, as Tom Garrett, our department chair, says, the other thing that's great too is having a bunch of people that have worked in their fields or are working in their fields. We know people who know people, and that's always a joy too, is when we can help connect our students with industry contacts.
Yeah, you're so right. The networking that we all have collectively is so beneficial for students.
That'll wrap up another edition of Charger360, telling the stories of the University of New Haven. Our thanks to Wayne Edwards, who teaches TV production, among other courses here at UNH. Wayne, thanks for being here on Charger360. It's great to see you.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you.
For Wayne, for Bruce, I'm J-Dub. We'll catch you next time on Charger360. Thanks for watching, everyone.